What is up guys, and welcome back to my second channel. My name is Nouman and today's video is going to be about the strengths and weaknesses of a 4-3-3 formation. So I've already made two different videos on this formation. If you guys haven't watched those videos, please go and check them out. I will put the links of those videos in the description. So one of the major weaknesses of this system is that when you have a front three with two wide wingers, you are leaving lots of spaces in between your fullback and the winger, and thus you are exposing your fullbacks. So how do we deal with this issue? So we have two different options to deal with this issue. The first option is that if we are not an attack-minded team, then we can ask our wingers to drop in the midfield without possession. We won't apply any high pressure on the opponents when they are trying to build their play from the back. We are going to allow the opponents to have the ball and build their play from the back. And we are mainly going to focus on covering the open spaces. The second option could be pressing the opponents and not giving them any time or space on the ball to build their play from the back. In this case, depending upon the side from which the opponents are trying to build their play, the winger will move up to start the high press. And the fullback will also move up to eliminate the space in between the winger and the fullback. And when the fullback moves up, the centre-backs will move to provide cover to the fullback. And the other fullback, in this case, will not move up and will try to stay close to his centre-backs and make a back three without possession to keep a nice balance between defense and offense. The biggest advantage of creating a back three is that it allows the wide wingers to focus more on the offensive side of the game, and they don't have to worry too much about defending without the ball, as they already have some protection behind them. When the wingers stay up, it allows you to quickly attack the opponents whenever you win back possession. Another weakness of this system could be seen against a flat 4-4-2 formation. If we are trying to apply the high press and the opponents decide to go with a direct build-up approach using long passes from the back to their front two, then our centre-backs will be left in trouble. So when you apply the high press, you have to ensure that you don't give any time or space on the ball to your opponents to play a long pass. The 4-3-3 formation can also struggle against a team that likes to play with a diamond 4-4-2 formation. A diamond 4-4-2 formation means that the opponents now have a man advantage in the midfield against our three midfielders. In this case, we have to ask one of our attacking players, which could be the number 9 or one of the wingers, to drop back and help in the midfield. Most of the times, managers usually try to ask their number 9 to drop back slightly and cover the deep line playmaker or the defensive midfielder of the opponent. If you are a team playing with a 4-3-3 formation and you like to dominate possession and like to build your play from the back, then your number 6 becomes a very important player for your team. And if the opponents try to man mark your number 6, either by using a diamond 4-4-2 formation or even by dropping the striker slightly behind to cover the number 6, then your team could get in some real trouble. And in this case, you might want to drop one of the two attacking midfielders close to the number 6 to create a 2v1 position against the opposition striker to build your play from the back. So what you are actually doing is that you're simply changing the shape of your midfield triangle during the build-up phase to create a 2v1 position against the opposition striker. Now let's talk about some of the strengths of the 4-3-3 formation. The front 5 in a 4-3-3 formation gives you a lot of mobility. They can interchange positions and create different attacking patterns to create lots of problems for the defense. For example, the number 8 can attack the wide area with possession and the winger can move narrow to force the opposition fullback narrow. Similarly, the winger can step in with the ball and the number 8 can then attack the wide area. Another option could be that you can ask both your wingers to stay as wide as possible to force the opposition fullbacks out of their positions, and then the two attacking midfielders can attack the spaces in between the centre-back and the fullback. So as we can see from these examples, the front 5 actually gives you lots of mobility. This formation is very useful for a team that likes to play possession-based football. It naturally creates small triangles throughout the ground, which makes it very easy for a team to create passing lanes and rotate possession. The pressing in a 4-3-3 formation makes it very difficult for the opponents to move the ball, especially through the middle of the ground. The striker and the three midfielders create a strong overload in the middle of the ground, which makes it super difficult for the opponents to move the ball through the middle. And if the opponents try to build their play through the wide areas, then your winger, the left-sided midfielder and the left back can again apply triangular pressure to stop the build-up through the wide areas. If we use a 4-3-3 formation against a flat 4-4-2 formation, then we will have a massive advantage in the midfield. Our deep line playmaker will mostly be free in between the lines, and the two attacking midfielders can move around to force the opposition midfielders out of their positions to open the passing lanes for the deep-lying playmaker to play forward passes to his wingers and the striker. And if one of the two opposition midfielders decide to move up to cover the deep-lying playmaker, then it will create a 2v1 position in between the lines for our team. And if one of the wide midfielders decide to move in to cover the deep-lying playmaker, then your fullback will have the chance to freely move up and create the overload against the opposition fullback with the help of your winger. So that was all from today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.